Hey YouTube, this is Ashley here making my first video on what I, up until recently, considered a taboo subject. I still don't like talking about it to any and everybody, but I figure there are people out there who might need help or are considering what I did. I had gastric bypass on March 27th of this year. Today is May 12th, 2012. And to date, I have lost, as of this morning, a total of 50 pounds, 17 pounds post-op, and the other 33 since the surgery. And I'm happy. You know, I'll put what my weight was in the information below because it's still hard for me to say that number. I'm so ashamed of the fact that I had let myself get that heavy. But you guys can do the math and figure out where I'm at now. I'll put the number down there and just subtract 50. Yeah, so it took me so long to make my video because I was adamant about the fact that I was not going to be one of those people making a YouTube video, because I was very, very selective about who I told about this surgery, for the simple fact that, yeah, a lot of people like me, I have a lot of friends, but there's a lot of people who, who claim to be your friend, but, they're waiting for you to fall or mess up or do something so that they'll have something to talk about to make themselves feel better. I know there's a lot of people like that. So because of that, I told, my friends, my close friends, my family, a few teachers, a few people I could trust. Definitely nobody in the church because they are very messy. But, yeah. So, like I said, I lost 50 pounds. I was on, I think I'm on week 6 right now, if I'm not mistaken. Working on week 7. The process to even get into where I wanted to go. I was, my entire adult life, I was overweight. And then when I went to school, I went from being overweight to obese. And, it sucks, waking up every day, having to see myself, I was so unhappy. I felt trapped in my skin, in my body. Felt like I was in prison. So I knew I had to do something because it was ridiculous. It was beyond ridiculous how high my weight had gotten. So, yeah. Maybe I should go ahead and just tell you my weight, my highest weight, so you won't have to. Okay. My highest weight in my entire life was 319 pounds. 319 pounds. I saw that it was completely out of hand because, you don't realize that you don't realize that how big you're getting until you take a picture. At least for me, anyway. I could see I was getting a little bigger or whatever, but I didn't realize how big I had gotten, and I didn't realize how bad I looked until, took a picture. And I'm like, oh my God, is that me? What happened, So, my junior year of college, I was working out a lot, eating better, and I ended up losing 15 pounds. So I went from 319 to about like 304, somewhere around there. I never went below 300 pounds. It's kind of disappointing because like I hit a plateau and then I just got frustrated and gave up. And so that was yet another failed diet. So I was around 304. Then over time I gained a few pounds back. So I was at 308 when I decided that I wanted to have the surgery done. Now, I decided that I wanted to have the surgery done in um, summer of last year, 2011. I was watching Oprah or some show. I can't remember, but I was watching it. Her father was treating her wrong because she was overweight, and she said she almost died twice as a result of the surgery, but she would still do it over again. It scared me, but it was to the point where I was failing diet after diet after diet after diet. And I knew I had to do something because, I want to live for a long time. I want to have a happy life, and I was not happy at that weight, being so heavy. So I made the decision to have lap band put in. And this was back in probably like June or July, I think. And I went back to school, back down to Mississippi to school. And in September is when I started. No, the end of August, I'm sorry. I started my journey. And it was so long for me because of the fact that I had high blood pressure. I still have high blood pressure, but it's not as bad. I think, I don't want to give you the wrong number, but my numbers are something like, I can't even remember the top number, but the bottom number was 113, and that is like dangerously high. And at the time, I was 20, I believe. So, yeah, they put me on blood pressure medication. I'm the type of person where I don't believe in medicine. I don't believe in birth control. If I have a headache, I'll just deal with it rather than taking medicine because so many things I see on TV, I just don't like putting things in my body. Anyway, so long story short, I was not taking my pills, and I didn't know that affected me being able to have my surgery. Now, my doctor, I had to have a clearance letter from my doctor, and she could not and would not clear me until I got my blood pressure down. Now, had I known that or realized that, I would have been taking my medicine. But come to find out, okay, here it is, probably September, I go back, and, my face hit the floor because I couldn't have the surgery, or because I couldn't get approved because my blood pressure is too high. So she put me on a stronger dose. Come back in 2 weeks, still too high. Put me on another dose. Come back in another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, still too high. So at this point, I'm damn near in tears because it's like I felt like I was never going to get to the point where I needed to be to have this surgery. So it was to the point my blood pressure was so high that she had me on three different pills. At this point, I'm 21. My birthday is in September. So I'm 21. And not to mention that around this time I was diagnosed with diabetes. So I'm on 4 different pills. One of the pills I had to take twice a day. So I just went ahead and counted as 5 pills every day. At 21. And that hurt when I was diagnosed with diabetes. I broke down in the office and cried. And at that point, I was like, I have to do something. So, yeah. I had to get that letter of approval from my doctor, and I finally did around, I finally got that letter of approval, I would say around either the end of February or the very beginning of March. Finally, had gotten my blood pressure under control to the point where I was able to have surgery. Okay, I had TRICARE, so I didn't have to do that whole 6-month supervised diet program or whatever other people have to do. I didn't have to do that. I was lucky with that. I had to get that letter of approval. I had to have a psychological evaluation, and I had to have an EKG, all kinds of, at least 5 or 6 different tests done. I can't remember the name of all of them. But all of this whole process took about from from August until March, the beginning of March, because it shouldn't have been that long, but my blood pressure was just out of control. So for other people who are in my boat, don't might not necessarily be that long for you, as long as your blood pressure is under control. Anyway, so March comes around and I'm finally approved. I'm so happy my insurance approved me. It was like a dream come true because I spent the past, almost half a year, something like that, trying to get this done, and it was finally here. So I had to go to this class before the surgery, and it was a 2-week class. We met once a week for 2 weeks, and he's basically telling you what to expect, and the other class is telling you what you can eat and stuff like that. And they gave us a binder with a whole bunch of stuff to read, and I had to be on a liquid diet for 2 weeks. I remember my last meal was Taco Bell. I love Mexican food. I haven't had any fast food, any junk food like that since March. So those 2 weeks went by. I had to be on liquid diet for 2 weeks. I was freaking miserable. Like, miserable. And please don't let that discourage you. When I say it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, at this point I still had a normal stomach. And I had my normal appetite. I could put it away. I used to be able to eat like my boyfriend. And he is a freaking football player. So you know they can eat. So going from eating a whole bunch to everything being liquid was hell. 2 weeks prior to surgery. Fast forward to March 27th. I am so nervous and scared and almost, I almost wanted to tell the doctors, you know what, never mind. But then I thought to myself, after all I had been through, after all these tears and frustration and finally getting everything through, how can I turn back now? What am I afraid of? It's only going to help me. So, I went through, had the surgery, went back to the operating room. Don't even remember really much after. I didn't have to put the mask over my face, but they gave me something in my IV, and I felt fine. I thought I was fine, and they took me back to the operating room. I saw the doctors in their gear and everything, and I was like, when am I going to fall asleep? And as soon as I said that to myself, I was gone. That's the last thing I remember. So I wake up, I don't know how long it was, and I was okay, because I was so hopped up on them drugs. I didn't really feel much when I woke up. And, as the drugs wore off, I would feel more and more. And it hurt. I'm not going to lie. That was not fun. But that first day was heaven compared to day 2. So I sat up, tried to sit up because the drugs are so strong when they were actually working that, I barely felt anything. So I tried to sit up, and my whole left side, I thought I hurt myself because it hurt so bad, but nothing on the right side hurt. But I didn't realize at the time that 90% of the work had been done on my left side. And that's why my left side was killing me like that. And I really thought I hurt myself because I sat up too fast or something. But yeah. Okay, day 2. I wake up in tears because I cannot breathe. Because it hurt the gas. Because I had it laparoscopically. They had 5 cuts in my stomach. And they had to blow my stomach up with gas to be able to get the tubes in there and, do the surgery. So, before the surgery on that 2-week liquid diet, I had lost 17 pounds. And I tell you, it was so much gas in me, I had gained all of that weight back. I got on the scale and I was like, wow, there's a lot of gas because I am right back at 308. Which is what I started at